What is up, everybody, and welcome to my TNA IMPACT Wrestling review. With a lot of things going on tonight, tonight would be the Feast or Fired cases being revealed, or in other words, EC3's last night in Impact Wrestling. Pretty much this will be the last time you will see him on this show. But as they talked about the Feast or Fired cases, they kicked it off with Alberto El Patron, which he talked about. He will headline the pay-per-view Redemption against Aries for the Impact World Championship. And as they showed what happened last week, El Patron pretty much, he came out and he called the crowd amigos, even though he's supposed to be a heel, but he's acting like a face for some reason, calling it, amigos. And I'm gonna say 30 minutes of talking about myself, so bring out Aries, the guy that says he's the greatest man ever lived, but I am. Aries came out pretty much having 4 titles with him. He sat on the top rope and talked about El Patron. As he clapped for him, he told him to stop. And he says, me and you come from different very worlds, but we're not that very different. If they disrespected, someone, we would punch them in the face. And that we love pro wrestling and have won championships all around the world and competed at the highest level. And Aries says he's the greatest man that ever lived, but he is also the truth, because he is what's most real in pro wrestling. And he looked at El Patron and says he is disingenuous and you don't need to play mind games of a boys. We're going to play a man's game, he said. And he pretty much told El Patron that yes, you will get your title shot at Redemption. But El Patron says he wants you to come face to face, and we don't really gotta wait till Redemption. He says, because he says El Patron, he says you're not the real champion until you beat me. And he wanted his redemption, and he would say C C C, and then he told the fans, the crowd chants C C C. El Patron said he would die for them, which I don't know why a heel is saying this, but he says we're gonna both get that match at Redemption. And Aries told El Patron says, I thought you said you weren't gonna talk all night. I thought you came out with something to prove. And he said El Patron is tall and he is short, and we both have chips on our shoulders. But El Patron said enjoy that world title you have it on your shoulders, because it belongs to me. He told him to play Aries' music, but he told El Patron that's pretty nice, but and appreciate it, but we're gonna play your music, because this is the last time you will enjoy it when Aries is still the world heavyweight champion. The promo wasn't bad, it was pretty much straightforward. But as for El Patron himself, kind of odd. You're calling the fans amigos and you're gonna die for them when you're supposed to be the heel. Didn't make a lot of sense. Trevor Lee went against Falaba. There's not much to say here. It's an okay match. Finish was kind of weak with a roll up. Hopefully they find Trevor Lee. I don't know, man. I feel like they can't get it right with him sometimes, and they better do something right with him, or else they're gonna lose him to somebody else, some other company. So I don't know. Maybe this guy needs to go for the world title. He's been X Division too many times. The tag team was kind of whatever. Falaba at least is over with the crowd, but they really need to do something with these two. Hopefully by the next taping, something better will happen. OVE was holding the camera as Alicia Edwards is headed to her hotel room, and as they pretty much went to Eddie Edwards and Mackenzie Mitchell, Eddie Edwards looked at the footage and pretty much, I guess, went to Alicia's hotel. Sammy Callahan was at the camera, pretty much holding the camera, I guess, or hitting camera, and told one of the I guess housekeepers that he locked himself out of his room so he could get in. So really creepy segment right there to see where this is going to go on later in the night. Matt Sidell with Josh Matthews went against Raju, which they had new music also. The people chanted fire Josh, and the match wasn't really bad or anything and stuff, but I don't know. Sanjay Dutt, which is kind of weird, this Feast of Fire thing, saying that he's, I can't wait to hear someone gets fired tonight. It's kind of a bad thing to say, and really kind of happy about it for some reason. I don't know where this whole thing with Sidell is going with the this title with well, he is the X Division champion. Josh Matthews is the Grand Champion, which I'm not sure where this still goes out all the way. Really, I'm not really sure. Whatever Josh Matthews' new role is, so I'm not really sure about that whole thing. Moose was in the backstage since he had the case. He says he doesn't give a damn about having an X Division title. He says 2018 will be the year of the Moose, and you know, I don't give two damns about the title shot. And he says, you know, there's a chance he will be fired, but you know, he will worry about it later. And he says he will be the champion soon. I don't know, they gotta do something with Moose. This guy loses too much to be a face, and kind of make him look like an idiot half the time too. So they really need to do something better with Moose, because he barely wins. Mackenzie Mitchell interviewed Eli Drake, as he said, you know, I've been fired from every job and from a certain other company, he says, but I've won titles after leaving from another company. And he says the Obi-Wan Kenobi of Impact, and that everyone else is an Obi-Wan jabroni. Ali went against Sienna for the Knockouts Championship, which I don't know why they didn't build this up. It just kind of happened. You think they would build this up, because we haven't seen Sienna in a while, and I believe she was hurt during these tapings, if I'm not sure, very badly, or something like that happened. Just kind of beat her just because. The post-match thing was a little bit better, because the match just kind of happened to happen. Really nothing going anywhere with all of this. Braxton Sutherland came out, almost kind of dressed as Laurel Van Ness, but Ali pretty much said no, and I guess was trying to get her back until some like undead bride, they said, showed up, which was pretty much, I thought this was Rosemary 2 in a way. This was the debut of Sue Young, as she pretty much took out Ali and then walked away with her, which I feel like we're going to see Sue Young versus Rosemary soon enough, some demon versus undead type of thing, because their gimmicks are very they're very kind of similar when you look at it, of this demon dark persona or zombie like type of thing. They pretty much previewed well, we still got Impact versus Lucha Underground coming up pretty soon during WrestleMania weekend in New Orleans. Mackenzie Now this was actually a funny part of the show tonight, which this is just very kind of foreshadowing, but EC3 is also talking about his future in the briefcase, and Tyrus comes up and says, I hope he gets fired. Moose walks up and says, he's probably going to get fired. Richard Justice said, you know, hey, be fired. Father Bob just walked over and said, no, no, no. Taji Ishimori just looked at him and walked away. Johnny Impact just kind of walked around and said, you know, yo, bro, I hope you get fired. And then Lashley was just kind of funny, just kind of going like, fired. There's a lot of foreshadowing going on around that. Lots of foreshadowing. But really funny. Next was, they showed that GWN flashback of the week. Eddie Edwards ran to the hotel room, which he pretty much entered his wife's room looking for Sami Callihan, as his wife Alicia says, what are you doing, acting weird. She was really kind of bothered by the whole thing, and Eddie pretty much told her to go back to sleep. As he left, he kind of knocked into the maid or the housekeeper and pretty much said sorry, but it was Callihan pretty much wearing drag. And as he tried to take out Callihan, pretty much someone with the camera, I think it was one of OVE, and they pretty much walked over and they jumped Eddie Edwards until Alicia got in between them and says, I already called the cops, and told Callihan to stop as he walked away and did his thumbs down thing. Very interesting segment, very creepy, but it was interesting, no. That's what I like about this whole LAX and OVE thing. They got some kind of cool cinematics. Did it come off a little like Lucha Underground a lot? Yeah, it did. But a very horror, like slashing type of thing going on. Next was Abyss, pretty much with James Mitchell versus Congo and Jimmy Jacobs. With Jimmy Jacobs. Listen, I get he put Congo over here, but it's almost like someone said once to me, if you see one Monsters Ball, you've seen them all. Everyone says this is just a garbage match for him most of the time, and almost you kind of predict these Monsters Ball, especially when Abyss is about to use that Janus weapon, and from the tax, and you know he's gonna dodge it and throw him on that barbed wire board thing, and Kong did a splash. I don't know where this goes, and I guess they tried to make Kong into the next monster here. I don't know, and even Congo Congo and Jimmy Jacobs aren't connecting well. I know people said Jacobs was a great writer, and WWE will create the list, but I hope he can bring something better here. Jeremy Borash, who's pretty much with WWE now, was in the ring to unveil the Feast of Fire cases, and Eli Drake got the tag one since he doesn't have a partner anymore. He says, what am I supposed to do with this? And he threw it away. This is stupid. P.D. Williams got an X Division, which I wish he would have got a better title shot, but whatever. And then it was between Moose and EC3. As EC3 pretty much says, see you never, Moose. Moose got the world title shot. EC3 was fired. And as EC3 looks very shocked with his mouth open, he said this was Taiji Ishimori's case, and Borash pretty much when it says, told him to open it, as he would try to sing that, Na 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 song, goodbye song. EC3 pretty much says, there's not a man, child, or God on this planet that will make him open this case when it says fire. And Borash told him, so you had an incredible career here, best of luck. But EC3 said this is some type of joke, and he went on a rant, which was very great of a rant, by the way, and he made hella points. He said, I have been the franchise of this company. I have carried this for over 4 years ever since he just got here. Don't cheer, I'm putting myself over. And as he pretty much talked about the undefeated streak he had, people chanted his name. I have been a 2-time world champion. I have beaten every TNA Hall of Famer, pretty much Sting, Bully Ray, and Kurt Angle. I defeated Kurt Angle for the world heavyweight champion, pretty called the greatest wrestler of all time. And he went on to say that. He said, what else did EC3 say? Because it was a very great promo. He made a lot of great points about what he was saying. The hardcore American icon. And he was right about one thing. Why are we doing this outdated, stupid Feast of Fire thing? Which he is right, because I thought they got rid of this thing after having last year. People remember, again, this is when Corgan was around too. It was called Race for the Case, where you get a title shot overall for everybody, not do this stupid Feast of Fire thing. And he won the world title. So we could have done that stupid King of the Mountain thing. That would have made more sense. And as he put himself over throughout everything, the fans chanted, thank you, Ethan. He says, he accepts his fate. Then I'm a professional, and being fired sometimes like a spark that carries you to greatness, as he put on. And he says and the one thing he said at the end, the most important part, he is a Carter, and his company needs him. And he pretty much says, I'm Dixie Carter's nephew. I'm Dixie Carter's nephew, he said. So, and he pretty much told us, I guess was kind of take a shot in the back, saying like, I gave it all like he could. He gave it everything he could. And his EC3 thanked Jeremy Borash, which you might as well take him with him too. He pretty much hit him with the briefcase. He tore off his shirt, and then pretty much Brian Cage came out, and pretty much I guess got EC3 him with a drill claw. So I guess he somewhat kind of put him over before he left. It could have been better had he put Brian Cage over, but it would have been too early on to have that big of a match. But EC3 could have, I don't know, maybe could have done the honors and put him over. But this was kind of good too. And then they just say randomly Bobby Lashley versus Brian Cage next week, which actually will be a great match when I see it, hopefully. But this Feast of Fire thing it's just really needs to go. All right, it really does. And it was a hell of a rant when they did that. What can I say, with these TV tapings? They just shouldn't do Feast of Fire in general. Okay, it just really doesn't need to happen. All right, this is dumb. And EC3 looked like he did kind of take a shot. And I'm not mad at Don Callis. I think Don Callis is kind of doing better. But I think the person that is the problem is the vice president with him, Scott D'Amore. I think he's living too much in the past. Because why would you bring this Feast of Fire thing back? what was the point of all this, really? So I'm not really sure. So you know, I know I'm kind of stammering my words a little here, but I do put a lot of this blame on Scott D'Amore. I think EC3 is probably taking a shot at him because this guy is kind of too past in the booking. If mostly the bad parts of TNA, and this was a bad part to even do really. And I know a lot of this could have been avoided if Billy Corgan was still the part of the company, because even people probably got pretty much tired of Abyss with the Monsters Ball thing. And even people, I remember something like Billy Corgan did better with Abyss because they made Decay and everything, and that was really good. Trevor Lee, they need to do better with, but just regarding the whole EC3 thing, let me get back on point right here what I was saying about this. I will say I will miss EC3 in Impact. I never really knew he was Derek Bateman in to begin with. It took me a long time to figure that out for some reason, but at the time, EC3 was probably one of the most biggest things in the company. He was very protected. He had a very long streak going on, and he did a lot in this company. Really, he really did. It's just a shame though when they brought Jeff Jarrett and them in, that they didn't know what to do with EC3. This guy should have been back in the world title picture, or let alone be the world champion again. And it does really suck that they lost him. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to watch him in NXT, and we already know he's in NXT for almost 2 months now, okay? So I just wanted to see how he was written off of TV, really. I just wanted to see how that goes. So that's why I said in my past reviews, just enjoy EC3 while he's somewhat still around, even though he's not technically in the company. I at least watch him while he's there and see at least whatever he did before he left the company. In the company stuff, but it was one thing Impact really needs to kind of get going here. I for some reason I feel like I'm losing train of thought of this. They've really got to stop letting these people leave during these TV tapings, because it's going to get really odd. I've already said before, it gets odd enough when you watch the show and that person is gone, and they're not there anymore. You're just kind of waiting for the next thing to happen. But like I just said, focusing on EC3 real quick. Hopefully things are better for him and NXT and so forth. I am still surprised that they let him keep the EC3 name and he trademarked it. They won't call him Ethan Carter III, but he will just be known as EC3. I'm just glad he did not go back to Derek Bateman, really, and stuff. But EC3 made a lot of points in his his rant. He really did. And they just did a lot of stupidity in this. Like I said, this Feast of Fire thing is very outdated, and it didn't even need to happen. I liked when he shrugged his shoulders, I guess, before hitting Brian Cage, because he just knew he was on his way out the door. And I just like this whole rant because it pretty much told you pretty much a brief history of everything he has done in this company for over 4 years now. And it is a shame, because that you gotta give TNA one thing: he was a star that they created, and he really got big. It's just with them losing Billy Corgan, I think that's where the downfall came in, and Jarrett didn't know what to do, and you saw him and D'Amore's some of their idiotic bookings and all of this, especially with Scott D'Amore here. Like I said before, Don Callis, I can see the changes he's doing for the better, and D'Amore, he's still doing a lot of stupid shit. So I think he is a lot to blame through all of this, really. Now, so Bobby Lashley, I think we know he's kind of on his way out the door too. So I don't know if this will be the last one you'll see him next week, but we'll just have to find out and see once these tapings are done, really. But like I said, I will miss EC3 and Impact. I enjoyed him while he was here. I will miss the Trouble theme song. I know some people are really kind of bummed out about it, but like I said before, hopefully he does better in WWE and NXT, right? I'm sure he will. Now I don't know about the main roster, that's a different story. But will EC3 ever be back in his company? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe one day, maybe he will. I don't know. I'm just taking a guess here and there. But just listening to that rant, it was actually a really good rant, and yeah, people are gonna miss him over there. I'm sure they are. But yeah. And oh yeah, you might as well. I guess this is the last time you see Jeremy Borash here too. So I'm sorry if I missed that part. That's 2 people you won't see. This is literally the last time you will see Jeremy Borash, and this is the last time you will see Ethan Carter the third here. So goodbye EC3. I guess if you want to go with that as a title, but we know where he is now. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But like I said before, tonight's show. But this piece of fire thing should just go away in general. It's really dumb. It just needs to leave. It just needs to leave and go away and be heard from the light of day. Go back to race for the case. And, hopefully they work with Billy Corgan. I really do hope they work with Billy Corgan again. Like, because the more he may have a chance if they go back to him. They really need to. Again, I don't know, mix the NWA and Impact up a little. I don't know. At the end of, like you said, it's Dixie Carter's fault for letting this go down and letting a lot of these people leave, especially in these recent kind of year. And there's blame on Jarrett also, because like I said, you let the Hardys go, you let them, a lot of those other guys go, and he lost really 2 big stars right now. You lost Lashley and you lost EC3. It's a big blow. It really is. But that's my personal thoughts on this. But I'm gonna go. I'm out of here. I will see you guys later, and peace out.